Live from my basement, Tim Connolly drums. Hello. Just going to wait a few minutes here while, oops, adjust my seat here, while I get a few people joining me here on this very, very rainy Wednesday morning. It's pouring rain here where I am and chilly outside, but I'll take rain over snow any day because that snow that we got almost 2 feet of snow. It was pretty insane considering last year we got nothing. Basically, it was an extended fall or an early spring last winter. So this winter we got the old-fashioned winter, which is lots of snow and very cold. So it's not too bad in terms of temperature right now. I think it's about 5 or 6 degrees outside Celsius, which isn't bad. But it is raining out there. And I'm home doing a live stream. So I thought I haven't done a live stream for a little while. I've been doing live streams on my other channel when I go camping. And I like to winter camp. I like to camp all year round on my other channel. And I often do live streams from the hot tent that I usually sleep in. And, you know, I run a hot stove and it's awesome. I absolutely love winter camping with the stove, the cot, sleeping bags, being out in the crazy snow. I love it. So anyways, I hadn't done a Tim Connolly drums live stream for quite some time. So I thought, hey, you know, it's something that I would like to do. It's not something I do regularly. It's just sort of off the cuff, even though I did schedule this a few days ago. But I don't normally, you know, have a weekly live stream or a bi-weekly live stream. It's just, hey, I feel like doing a live stream. When am I available? When can I do it? Oh, Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon, rather, at noon. Perfect. So here we are. So I'm hoping I can get a few people to come on in here and say hello. If you can hear me, for the people that are here. Yes. Just saw this pop up. Hey, Slow Finger 2. How's the audio, Slow Finger? I can see the video. I'm hoping the audio is good. Usually my son gives me a little, you know, thumbs up or something audio wise to let me know that everything is good. If you don't mind doing that, that would be great. Let me just get my glasses on to read this. Talking winter camping. Haven't done that since my teen years. Yeah, I do it monthly. Audio sounds good. Excellent. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Yeah, I do winter camping once, sometimes twice a month. It all depends on, of course, family, work, gigs, teaching, you know, all the musician stuff. That's why we're here, to talk about music and musicians and stuff. But camping, I mean, my YouTube camping channel, Connolly Outdoors, is very close to getting monetized like this channel. There's 2 levels of monetization for those of you that, I mean, I've only got a few people in here, but the first level is 500 subs and 3,000 watch hours. So I achieved that on my camping channel. So I'm partially monetized. That allows me to set up a shop. That allows me to receive any donations or anything that people want to give me during a live stream like this. And it gives me some, you know, some small things that YouTube is willing to give. But in terms of making actual money, a monthly paycheck, you have to have 4,000 subscribers, or sorry, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So 1,000 subs, 4,000 watch hours. Now, I think I'm 200 watch hours away from 4,000 on that channel, but I'm a long way off on the subscribers. I think I got another 400 and something to go. So I think around 412, I think. So I still got a ways to go for getting monetized on that channel. So, but it's something that I enjoy. And being a musician, you guys know, if you can get paid to do something that you love, That's success in my opinion. If you can get paid and also in the case of being a professional, earn a living. Absolutely. Oh, thank you very much, Littlefinger. Yeah, yeah. If you like camping, all kinds of crazy camping that it's my son and I. My son has a channel too. It's called Liam Connolly Outdoors. So we both film all our camping. He has a separate video. I have a separate video. I tend to include him in my video. He doesn't really include me that much in his, maybe a little bit, but not much. I definitely try to include him. And we have a lot of fun, and it's great father-son time. We're out camping. There is nothing better than being in the outdoors and camping, and especially winter camping. Now, some of the camps that Liam and I have done have been crazy. Minus 30 degrees. We're out in a freaking tent, but it's a hot tent. I've got a stove, and we keep ourselves warm with that stove. Now, it does get cold at night because, of course, we go to sleep. Wood fires always burn out, and it does get cold overnight, which is why we have a winter ready sleep system that gets us through the night. Then I get up super early, usually around 4 a.m. when we're out camping, and I restart that stove because, man, it gets cold in there when it's minus 30 outside, I'll tell you. Now, we got another camp coming up. Liam and I are heading up north soon. And it's going to be probably our last hot tent camp of the year. So anyway, that's that channel. For this channel, I'm trying to come up with some different ideas. I've done interviews lately. I interviewed Matt Wallace, fantastic young drummer. Matt is really talented, Humber Music School graduate. He teaches at the music school that I teach. He's an awesome guy. He's an awesome drummer, and he's a great student as well because I've taught him a few lessons, helping him out with the molar stroke, free stroke, and whatnot. But this guy is on a skill level, off the charts. He just recorded "Bleed" by Meshuggah. Now, if you know anything about the drumming with Meshuggah, we are talking insane levels of drumming and musicianship. Thomas Hawk is an amazing drummer. I love Meshuggah, one of my favorite metal bands, and Thomas is an incredible drummer. So imagine, Matt took 6 months to lift the parts, and for those of you that might not know what lifting is, it just means writing out all the drum parts. So he lifted all the drum parts. That is a skill in itself. That's one thing I'm actually really good at is lifting. I can lift pretty much any song. But Meshuggah, I know that if I had to lift that song, that's a big task. I can remember lifting some Tool, oh my God, and some Dream Theater, very difficult. Rush, very difficult because there's just so much going on. To lift those songs is very, very challenging. Now, if you're listening to pop music, well, as my students saw last night, I lifted a few pop tunes for them, and it pretty much took me the length of the tune. So as I'm listening to the song, I'm writing everything out, and I came up with a chart for my student, and it took me, however long the song was. It doesn't take long, but it takes time to develop the ear and the mental insight to be able to hear music and then know exactly what is happening in terms of the drum parts and also the musical parts. That's one thing that I wanted to talk about today. So one of the things that I teach all my students, I hate the joke, and I know you guys know this joke and you're going to laugh, but I hate the joke. What do you call a guy that hangs out with a band? The drummer. I hate that joke. Now, the reason I hate that joke is because, unfortunately, a lot of drummers have put them in a situation where they are not really in tune with what's going on with the music. Yeah, they can play the grooves and whatever, but a lot of my adult students that play in weekend warrior type bands, they always tell me, oh, They get lost in the form at the end of the song when the vamp is going on. They don't even know what a vamp is. Or when we're doing a section that leads to the outro, which could be a vamp. Of course, we could play a vamp to the outro. So it's important for drummers to be as musically knowledgeable as the guitar player, as the keyboard player. Now, obviously, most drummers are not going to take the time to understand piano theory. I mean, I spent so many years in music school that all that theory has come to, I can remember it all. I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. Trying to remember what I did have for lunch yesterday. See what I mean? I can't remember. And I'm terrible with names. I forget everybody's name. But I can tell you so much music just doesn't leave my head. So I always have the music in me. So I try to translate that to my students. So what I do is I teach them how to lift musical form. So basically I train them how to understand the form of music in a pop, rock, funk, country, standard music setting, and then also in a jazz music setting for those that are interested. I don't teach all of them in jazz unless they're interested, because that's a niche kind of most kids are interested in pop, rock, funk, top 40, whatever. So I try to cater to them, but at the same time, I try to give them the education that they learn music and they learn musical form. So we're talking intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, segues, instrumental sections, solo sections, vamps, outros, and anything else you can think of that involves musical form. So I teach all my students to understand musical form. I also teach them how to understand musical form inside phrasing. So for example, instead of a drummer counting bars, the only time I ever count bars, quite frankly, is when there's a stop. And I'm so digga 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 doom, stop, 2, 3, 4, boom, back in again. So I count in those times. It's not just for me, it's for the whole band usually. So, but otherwise, I'm feeling phrases. So if we take a really simple tune like Back in Black, everybody anticipates that part where it goes gatum 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 bagatum, or na 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 na. So when we get to that part, I'm not counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Second bar 2, 3, 4. What I'm doing is I'm listening to the guitar player. That's 4 bars. So that's what I train my students to do. I train them to feel music in phrases. Obviously, when you're an absolute beginner, you got to count some bars. I understand that. And I've been teaching, I've been teaching almost 40 years. So, I mean, it took me a long time, I'm going to be honest, but I'm pretty good at it now. It took me a long time to really understand how to properly get across to different people, because everybody's different. You're dealing with so many different personalities when you're teaching as well, right? So anyways, that's part A. Part A is musical form. Part B is the lifting of the rhythmic notation. So it's teaching them how to write grooves. It's teaching them how to write phrases, fills, and how the grooves, fills, and phrases sit inside of the musical form. So why do we do a drum fill from the verse into the pre-chorus or chorus, for example? Well, drummers, we set these things up. So I train them, my students, to get a full education, not just drums. I also do ear training a little bit, so that when students come across a situation where they actually get to play with live musicians, they understand a little bit about what's going on musically. So when that bass player plays a 1-4-5 turnaround on the bass in a 12-bar blues, let's say, my students will understand the 12th bar, what the bass player's playing, what their role is in that 12th bar with the bass player and the guitar player, let's say. And then they have musical knowledge. And that is what's important to me as a teacher, is trying to get my students a well-rounded education so that they're not only understanding how to play the drums, but they're understanding a little bit about what's going on. I mean, obviously they're not listening and, oh yeah, C minor, oh, A major. Like, they're not necessarily identifying chords as the guitar player's playing. I don't do that either. It sounds. Soul finger, yes, glasses. Yes, parts, phrases, and sections. Yes, absolutely. So drummers, we need to know that too. We need to understand parts, phrases, sections, how they, what a vamp is, why are we doing the vamp, the intro, the outro, the bridge section, double bridge, double chorus, double verse, whatever. We need to understand musical form, and then you're never going to screw up. You're never going to get lost in that Hey Jude vamp that goes on and on and on and on and on forever. I love the Beatles, but that Hey Jude 4-minute ending is just, it's painful. I love the Beatles, but that song is a hard one to listen to because it just goes on and on and on forever. I can remember when I used to play in the Beatles tribute. Oh, it's so easy to get lost in that form, but just count the times. So you just got to keep track of the phrases, not the bars. So if he's singing na 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 na, Hey Jude. So if that's the phrase, and it's, let's say it's a 2-bar phrase, then you're counting the Hey Jude phrase, not the 2 bars. So if the Hey Jude phrase happens 8 times, it is then a 16-bar phrase, theoretically. Oh, Freebird. That is so funny. Freebird. Oh my God. I didn't think I'd get a request to play Freebird on a live stream. Do you know how many times I was telling one of my students yesterday about the infamous Freebird? Because, 12-year-old kid doesn't know about Freebird. The most requested song that nobody plays. I played Freebird, honestly, 4 times. And the times that I played Freebird, it was never because somebody, maybe once, I think once, the guys in the band actually knew it. Yeah, I was playing in a country rock band and the guys knew it. So we actually did play Freebird. But as Slowfinger 2 mentions, Freebird for half an hour. That's right. That vamp and that ending at Freebird, oh man, that thing goes on forever. Now, Freebird is an awesome tune. Awesome, legendary, fantastic tune. But I can remember, and this just cracks me up, I'm playing in a band with a black female singer, and we're playing top 40, we're playing 70s disco, we're playing 80s funk, all that kind of stuff. And, we're doing Rihanna and Beyonce, and we're doing, late 60s funk, Aretha Franklin, stuff like that, right? So this girl is amazing at singing all that stuff. Top notch. She's awesome. Donna Summer, all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, after, we finish playing Hot Stuff by Donna Summer, we hear, play Freebird. She doesn't even know what Freebird is. And I just started laughing. I can remember howling, thinking, yeah, let's play a 70s disco version of Freebird and see how that goes over. So Freebird, the most requested, never played song. Nobody plays it. Nobody plays it. And it's because of Slowfinger saying exactly the truth. The song goes on forever. How long is it? Like 10, 12 minutes? Like I said, awesome tune. I love the song, but nobody plays it because it goes on forever. It's like trying to play the first side of 2112. You're going to lose your audience playing the entire first side of 2112. Unless you're in a Rush tribute, which I was previously. And man, that is so freaking hard. Those are the toughest gigs I ever did, was playing anything from Rush, especially in a tribute, because you've got to play it exact. And man, playing what Neil plays, I mean, Neil, my favorite drummer of all time, brilliant. I'm obsessed with his playing, even though I really don't play like him other than when I have to, because I learned play to the music and please the singer. Because especially if you're not the boss, I mean, I'm the boss in the bands that I play in now, but if I'm subbing or I'm in a situation where I'm not the boss, you're going to piss everybody off if you don't play to the song. That's the other mature thing that you do as a musician. Play to the song, not to your ego. So you're not doing those giant Rush fills in the middle of Sugar Pie Honey Bunch, you know? Okay, we got somebody else popping in here. And yes, Slowfinger, thank you very much. Yes, that is rather hilarious. Can you imagine Freebird when we're playing? I think we were doing some Rick James when that happened, or Donna. No, it was Donna Summer. Sorry, not Rick James, even though we did play Rick James. But okay. Hey, Tim, where you been? What do you think of the Orange Douche King and his tariffs? Will you play south of the border? Well, I have been around. I've been around. I just haven't done any live streams, as I was saying at the very beginning of the live stream, that I just haven't done a lot of live streams on this channel. I've been doing live streams on my other channel, which is a camping channel, Connolly Outdoors. But on my drum channel, I've just been trying to do videos. Now, as far as the Orange Douche King and the tariffs, I try to stay away from politics on my channels. I have a very, very strong opinion. I don't like them at all. But, I don't want to get into politics on my channel. I just try to I stay away from religion and politics talking, because everybody's got a very strong opinion. And I mean, I love Americans. I've played so many gigs down south. I've toured all over the US. I mean, I've played with so many American musicians, really great guys out of Nashville and LA and stuff like that, and amazing people. So absolutely nothing against any American. Love Americans, great people. I don't like what's going on with the tariffs. Now, like I said, I'm not going to get into the politics, but I do believe the tariffs are going to hurt us as musicians too. Now, I do know, I was this morning talking to the head of the union for the Toronto Musician Guild, and gave him a quick call. He says the tariffs are going to affect touring musicians. A lot of guys are saying they're not going down there. They're not going down there to play at this particular time. There's just too much turmoil. Things are crazy. And they're staying up here, or they're going to Europe. One of my students is touring. Check out the band, The Commoners, guys. The Commoners, Commoners. That is my student on the drums. He's awesome, fantastic drummer. Even though I'm always on him about that molar stroke, I need to get him to use that molar stroke more. He's a great player, Adam. Fantastic player, really great drummer. And the Commoners, they pretty much are exclusively touring Europe. I don't know if they're getting offers necessarily in the US, but I do know that a lot of young Canadian bands are heading over to Europe right now instead of heading down south. So will I be playing south of the border? Not at this particular time, no. Maybe down the road, because I do know that there's a very good chance of getting some casino gigs in New Jersey, at Atlantic City, and a few other casino gigs because of the band that I put together, which is catered towards playing those kind of gigs. Yeah, Sean, let's see here. I love Americans too and have been to the States countless times, but won't spend a minute penny there now. Good for you, bro. Go Canada. Yeah, I mean, I'm a Canadian. I get it, man. I'm with you there. I'm all for Canada. I'm not for punishing people in the U.S., except the government people like Trump and all his allies and whatever. I'm not a fan of any of them. But like I said, I've done really well in the U.S. I made a lot of friends down there. A lot of my teachers were from the U.S., from Berkeley and Dom Famularo, and taking lessons with Todd Zuckerman and a lot of great Americans. They're great people. The problem is this government, but I'm hoping it works its way out. P.S. Did you like the Canada-U.S. hockey series? Are you kidding me? I was going nuts. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I loved it. And I was so happy. I'm a Leaf fan. So it was Marner to McDavid. McDavid's an amazing player, best in the world. And he shelves it where they hide the peanut butter. Beautiful. Put it where the peanut butter jar is hidden. And I was thrilled. Yeah, I was really thrilled. That first game against the U.S. where there was 3 fights before the game even started, that was crazy. But yeah, I mean, I love hockey. It's my favorite sport. I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but my second favorite sport, hockey. I played hockey as a kid and a teenager, a young adult, all that stuff. I played hockey till I was about 40, and then I couldn't play anymore because of drumming. I just couldn't risk getting injured. That's why I don't ski, even though I like skiing, but I don't ski because I can't afford, and I'm 60 years old. But now I can't afford to get any kind of injury because I'm a musician, and I went through hell already with this whole hand situation. But yeah, so the second favorite sport is swimming. Now, the reason I love swimming is because my son is a very, very high level swimmer, and my daughter is also a high level swimmer. So I have my 19-year-old son and my 14-year-old daughter, both high level swimmers. My son swims for the University of Laurier. He's a varsity swimmer, or Laurier University. And my daughter swims with a club. She's a club swimmer. She's got to meet this weekend, actually, and I'm going to go and watch her. So I knew you would be freaking out like the rest of us. A great day for Canada. Yes, I was freaking out. Everybody's asleep upstairs, actually. I was the only one watching the game. And when they scored, I was jumping up and down. I mean, I'm a passionate supporter of Canada. I mean, I love my country. We're kind, loving, gentle people. But as you said, we got to stand up for our sovereignty, and we've got to stand up for our game, which is hockey, and we've got to stay strong and stay together and buy Canadian and all that stuff. So just to go back a tiny bit, I'm going to be holding off until this thing calms down. Like I'm just hoping things calm down before I going anywhere. I did turn down an offer to go and do some playing in the States. I turned it down in the past, and because I just don't want to be away from home for a long time. I also got asked to go to Dubai to play, but it was a 9-month contract. That was a while ago. I got asked to do that, but I turned that down just because, again, I can't be doing that. I got asked to go on the Disney cruise line, turned that down. I just can't be away from home for a long period of time. Sean, again, Gretzky is a dick. Yeah, I'm really disappointed with him. I don't even want to talk about that. Very sad. Sean, you're exactly right. I'm devastated about that. I can't even talk about Wayne Gretzky right now. He's always been my hero. I always loved him because he was a class act. I really like classy people that are humble. They're amazing at what they do. Dom Famularo was amazing at what he did, but he was humble beyond belief. Steve Smith, another one. I've studied with Steve. The guy is an incredible drummer. Top tier. Amazing. But you'll never hear it out of him. What does he do? He plays. And then you just sit back and go, holy jeez, that is incredible. That's how I looked at Wayne. He didn't have to talk about how great he was. When he played and was on the ice, holy geez, you could just see it. You could see the fear in the eyes of the other players when Wayne was on the ice. Now you can see the fear in my eyes now because I'm so disappointed with Wayne. Yeah, so I won't be buying, I don't drink, but I wouldn't be buying any Wayne Gretzky wine, that's for sure. And I don't think many of us are buying Wayne Gretzky Canadian wine. But I do want to say something quickly about this. I don't want to get into the politics thing too much, but you brought it up, Sean. Don't punish the American people. We need to punish the American government because the American people, they want to come here and visit with Canada and support us. And I'm seeing a lot of support from Americans because I have a lot of contacts with Americans in Nashville and various studios and whatnot down in the States. I talk to a lot of people, and the support that we are getting, I can assure you that from the music end of it, from the music scene, the support that we are getting as Canadians is very high from the U.S. People. And like I said, the musicians that I've been talking to, they're all giving us support, and they're on our side. Sean, again, Wayne was an ambassador to the NHL. So sad. P.S. Cruises sound horrible. Never played them, but have many friends who did. I know a guy who was sent home at the next port for smoking a doob. Well, that's true. Actually, they don't tolerate you don't break their rules. Basically, they give you a stipends, if you want to call it, for not marijuana, but for alcohol. So you're allowed to have a certain number. But if you get seen, if you get seen stumbling around the ship, you're in big duty. Now, I never got kicked off the ship. I spent 6 months once, and then I spent 2 weeks just subbing in. But one of my students is a regular on the ship. Now, he doesn't do the 6-month thing. He doesn't get hired by the cruise line, so it's a totally different gig. What he does is he plays in like a 50s, 60s type of a band, and they're linked in with all the cruise lines. So he literally only does cruises, but he does, he'll do the Princess Caribbean, then he'll do the one that goes to Alaska, then he'll do the one in Greece, then he'll do the one in Europe, and the Arctic, whatever. He does all these different cruises, and the band gets hired, and they're only on the ship for a few weeks, 2-3 weeks, and that's it. And then they get off that ship, and whatever port they're at, they get on another ship, and that's what he does. Now, interestingly enough, I didn't need to move that so I can show you my hand. Interestingly enough, one of the problems that he was having, let's see if I get a stick here. Yeah. So one of the problems he was having was he was cramping. So he's playing, and this part of his thumb right here was cramping. And the reason it's cramping is because of tension. He's holding the stick too hard, and he's leaning in, and he's not letting the stick bounce. So it's this caveman approach, right? So I taught him the free stroke, and I taught him to play way more like this, where everything is super loose. So when you see the stick in your hand, everything is loose. So when I'm holding the stick and I'm playing, everything is loose. And I can remember Steve Smith saying, practice as loose as you possibly can, so that when you get on stage and you're nervous and the light hits you in the crowd, you react to the crowd and you tighten up, because you practice so loose and so relaxed. Your hand is going to stay relaxed. You're going to tighten up a little bit, but you can mentally also think to yourself, I've got to loosen up. I've got to play looser. So anyways, this is what I taught him. And he messaged me a little while ago, because he's one of these guys that only has a lesson once in a while, because he's in and out of the ports. Like I said, he travels the world on these cruise ships. So when he comes in, he's from Hamilton, area that I live in. And when he comes in, he always contacts me. Let's have a lesson. And we always go over that. And he said to me, his drumming has changed. he used to cramp and he would go like this. Santa Maria. So he would cramp so bad that he would have to hold the sticks like this. Now, this is an exercise that I teach to get your fingers going. So if we had a pad here, this is what I teach, holding the stick like this, purely for an exercise. If you're playing, you're not holding the stick like that to play. This is how we're going to hold the stick to play, right? Trying to adjust it so you can see. Nice and loose and relaxed, super loose, super relaxed. Not caveman, definitely not, super tight. We want all the muscles and everything to be very, very relaxed. That's the whole key. So this is what we go over. Same thing with my student who's a pro that travels all over Europe with his band, the Commoners. Whenever he comes for a lesson, same thing, man. What can we do to make the gigs easier? What can we do to get him to relax? What can we do technique-wise to make things smoother? The transitions around the toms, the movement off the hi-hat to the cymbal, all these things. This is the kind of things that we work on. All right, I got to grab these again. I got comments coming in. Same as guitarists, right hand needs to stay loose. Absolutely. And with drummers, both hands. Actually, truth be told, it's not just the hands and the feet, the whole body. And I have an old video. I'm going to update that video. It's called The Liquid Effect, something that I teach called The Liquid Effect. And it basically means that your body flows. So right from the tip of your finger to the tip of your toe, your whole body is relaxed and ease. And if you watch great, great drummers, they're already doing it. If you watch like Ray Luzier from Korn, for example, what a fantastic player he is. Super loose. Vinnie Colaiuta, super loose. Steve Gadd, ridiculously loose. And the looseness then leads to ability to play better, faster, smoother, tighter. If you watch really great drummers, they all have that looseness to them. So loose that when tightening up, it's still loose. Exactly. That's what Steve Smith taught me. So even if you tighten up a little bit, you're still super loose. You're way looser than the average drummer, Yeah. Slow Finger agrees with Sean. Both hands. Absolutely. You want to have both hands and the body. I mean, I know you guys are guitar players, but for drummers, the feet being really loose is really, really important too, so that you can play those hand and foot linear patterns and being really, really loose. If you watch Usher's drummer who passed away, his name is slipped me right now, but he passed away, I think 2 years ago, and he was the drummer for Usher. His hand and foot patterns were so smooth. He's got that gospel chops things going on. And man, he was unbelievable in terms of how loose he was and how flowing he was, super flow. I love when drummers bounce off their thrones at the end of a tune. That's loose. Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that, because Dom Famulero told me a story once about how he was at this drum thing with Steve Gadd, and somebody bumped into Steve Gadd when he was sitting on his drum stool, and Steve actually fell off the stool. Now, the guy didn't mean to knock into him and knock him over, but he was so relaxed on his drum stool and so loose while he was actually playing at the time, just warming up, and he fell off the stool. And Dom was like, holy geez, that's the ultimate in relaxed. And he is just phenomenal at understanding that without even really maybe even thinking about it. I don't know. He's just a super relaxed player. So, yeah. Richie Hayward from Little Feat, amazing player. Oh, yeah, Richie was awesome. Great funky drummer, great feel, real great New Orleans feel too. Richie Hayward, he Little Feat. I mean, that's a great band, really loose. Steve Gadd, he's the top of the heap. Dave Weckles, another one. Steve Smith, super loose. All the really greats, they're all super loose. Aim to play loose, whatever instrument. Whatever instrument you're playing, aim to play loose. That's the best way to do it. Same thing with sports. You want to be loose to go fast. Same thing. Yes, they're slow finger. They're flowing with the rhythm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of course. Flow is hugely important on, especially if you're playing rhythm guitar. For you guitar players out there, rhythm guitar and that constant flow that takes place on the rhythm guitar. Sometimes there's not even a break in the playing. It's just constant up and down strokes on the rhythm guitar. You know, I'm not a guitar player, but you know, I played in a lot of bands with rhythm guitar players. Some of the best guitar players I ever played with were rhythm players, actually. So anyways, guys, I am 40 minutes in here, and Steve Gadd, that, oh yeah, Aja drum solo masterclass. I totally agree. That's one of the greatest solos inside of a song ever. And you keep one ear on the hi-hat. Well, you should, because the hi-hat is what's pushing the time out. Absolutely. Always keep bass player, guitar player, keyboardist, vocalist. I mean, the bands that I play in, the vocalists always tell me that they're following me. but they trust me that I know the songs, like I was saying earlier about understanding the musical form and everything. Not only are you going to relax because you're confident, it's another thing. I always tell my students, when you're, the only reason you're super nervous going on stage is you're lacking a little bit of confidence. If you get that confidence, nerves are normal, but the confidence, when you march on that stage, own it. Own that stage, not just the singer. The drummer's going to own his little section of real estate on that stage too. Sean, nothing better as a guitarist as when you hear your strum hit exactly with the snare, etc. Feels so good. Yeah. That tightness, that moment on stage when everybody is playing and it's all together. It's all that feeling, that feeling, and you all look at each other and you're just like, yeah, that's it. That's what we live for as musicians. That's what we live for, is those moments on stage. I can remember playing in a Neil Young tribute. I can't remember the name of the song, but it's kind of bluesy. I mean, a lot of Neil Young. Can't remember the name of the song, but it goes on and on and on. It's a very long Neil Young song. It's from the early days of Neil Young. And man, oh man, I can remember. It's a slow tempo too. And slow tempos are often harder for the band to really, you know, there's often a little bit of looseness in a slower tempo as opposed to a fast tempo. But in this Neil Young thing, I remember being on stage and just being in the moment and just like, man, we're really feeling this tune. It was awesome. And that's what I live for as a musician, is that moment on stage when the band, it's all about the band. It's not about me. It's not about the guitar player, the singer, whatever. It's about the band getting a united sound out and the crowd going, that's what it's all about. Anyways, guys, I got to get moving. I got a chicken in the oven and I got to go and check on that chicken. And then I got to get ready to go and teach drums for the entire evening. So I start at 4 and I teach till 9. So 5 hours, and I got a full student load. So I'm going to be busy. So I got to get going. Drummer in an old band said we have to have all common sense of time. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the drummer's laying down the time, but the guitar player, keyboard player, singer, everybody's got to have rhythmic pulse, and you got to have time. Absolutely. It's not just about melody being played randomly or harmonies being played randomly. It's putting it all together and projecting it out in a unified band out to the audience, and the audience will thank you, you know. All right, I got to get going, guys. Thanks, Tim. It was a fun hand, slow finger, man. I appreciate you so much. You're always here. You're always commenting. You're always watching my videos. I really sincerely appreciate you. Sean, thank you very much for commenting. Anybody else that was here, if you were just here watching, I'm happy that you were here too. I love it when I can respond with the comments, because I really enjoy interacting with my viewers, and I love talking music. Most drummers like to talk music, most guitar players, any musicians, not just drummers. You know, I mean, I talk to guys all the time, keyboardists, singers, bass players, whatever. And what do we always head to? What do we always head to? We always head to that unified thing, which is music. And on that note, guys, keep drumming. See ya.